Well, good evening, everyone. We are back again with Dogging It here at the CSI Expo, and I'm really excited for this interview. I've been working on this one for a few days now. I talked with Sharik's manager, and we got on his calendar, and I'm so happy to have him here. So, welcome, Sharik. It's nice to have you.
Hey, thank you, Joey. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, guys, do us a favor real quick before we get going, before we get cooking. Let us know if you can hear us, see us okay. There's been a few times where we've had some audio issues. We just want to make sure. Also, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors down at the bottom. Without them, none of this would be possible. A lot of great sponsors down there. And so make sure you check out their products because they helped us out to get out here. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, Mike, I've been telling you about this guy all week, right? I met him. He was so nice, so friendly. I'm like, we got to get him in here and talk to him. And then he goes deep in the tournament.
I'm not under a rock, man. I know a little bit about pool players, and I've been hearing the name Shar quite a bit over the last few months. You've been touring with your boy Yap, who's had some successes, but you've been able to create a name for yourself. And what I remember when I first heard that name was back in Lindenwood, and this was a few years back. So how did you end up from Singapore to Lindenwood, the middle of nowhere, USA? How did you make that bridge, man?
It's a pretty crazy story. So I was actually coming to the US to study already, and I knew that I wanted to play here as well. And one of my friends now, he was actually at the local training place back in Singapore. He was playing one of my best friends, and my friend asked him, "Hey, I haven't seen you. Where are you from?" And he said, "I'm actually from Singapore, but I'm studying in the US, and I'm back here for vacation." So we started talking, and he introduced me to Mark Wilson because he had done a clinic with him. So he told me that Lindenwood is having this program, and they're offering like scholarships to players. Maybe I can check it out. So I was like, wow, that if I can play pool and get my degree at the same time, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him, and I met Mark Wilson at the Derby City, and he happened to watch me play against Francisco Bustamante. I lost that match 9-7, but that's where it all started, And then I went with Mark Wilson to the university, and I checked it out, and I liked it, and I got an offer. So that's how it all started.
That's awesome because when I went to college, I played a lot of pool too, but not while I was getting my degree, while I was not getting my degree because I spent too much time in the student union.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great story. So, when did you get started playing pool? Take us through like is Singapore a big pool country or
Singapore is actually not a big pool country. I was actually, I think, about 16 at the time, and I was actually playing computer games, and all the computers were actually taken up. And so my buddy was like, "Hey, there's a pool table. Let's go play some pool." And I was like, "What's that?" I never seen that. I've seen the game, but I didn't know what it was all about. So I started playing with him, and the very next day we came back, and my friend wanted to go to the computers, and I said, "Let's play pool again."
You got the itch.
And that was it. That was where it all began.
no more
Never looked back.
computers? Yeah.
Never played soccer again after that. Never played computer games again. I just started playing pool.
What do you think it was that attracted you to pool? Some people say it was like the balls hitting the back of the pocket or the angle. Some people have like a mathematics background. What for you attracted you to pool?
Yeah, I think one of the first things would be the sound of the balls hitting each other, the sound of the ball hitting the back of the pocket, and just the satisfaction you get when you hit a shot clean.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
wouldn't know what that's
satisfying.
like.
No.
I never. I've been.
He,
I've been searching for 15 years and haven't found that.
he's been listening to the balls hitting the rails really hard.
Hey, it's also nice to do that sometimes when
Yeah.
you play good safeties.
True.
You watch the cue ball go a couple of rails.
What's that? What's that? I don't want to say the word dedication, but what's that like approach like to take an educational attack towards the game? Because I've never done that before. I've only just been to the pool room and I'm hitting balls, and if I don't learn something or figure something out, I just go and try it until I get there. What was Lindenwood like as far as teaching you the game?
Okay, so to be honest, Mark was like pretty strict with me. He wanted me to focus on my grades first because that was the main thing I was there for. And he said, you can play pool all you want after you're done with college, but please give me your best these 4 years in your academics, and I promise you we'll work together and get you, to the top of your game. So we had trainings about 3 times a week, and it was just 2 hours each session. So that was about all the pool I played. It wasn't as much as I wanted, but I just tried to stay patient. Yeah. So we did like 3 trainings, 6 hours a week, and then Saturday and Sunday I might go to a tournament or just hang out with friends and play at Lindenwood because we had really good equipment. We had diamond tables, and it was like a world class facility.
Wow.
So very fortunate
Do
for
you
that.
credit a lot of your success now from the time you spent at Lindenwood?
Definitely a big part of it. But to be honest, there's a lot of people that have helped me as well. Before I met Mark, I was playing for already like 6, 7 years. And so in Singapore, we also have a national coach. It was a Taiwanese coach. I'm not sure if people would know.
Yeah.
So he
What's
used
his
to,
name?
his name is Chen Wei Chi. Or the
Okay.
Taiwanese players would know him.
Yeah.
So he used to stay in Singapore and coach the national team.
Okay.
And so I learned from him, and I was a decent player back then. And then when I came to Lindenwood, I worked with Mark Wilson, and then after that, I went back to Singapore for a couple of years before playing full time right now.
We all know Mark's accomplishments and the history that he's had in the sport domestically and abroad. But I can tell you, having listened to a lot of AccuStats productions, especially over the last few years, he talks really highly of you, has a lot of respect for you. I've heard specifically your name being mentioned quite a bit over the last few years by Mark.
Yeah, and I like him too. I mean, he's been one of the most positive influences in my life. Pool, obviously, for sure, but I think he helped me to develop a better character as well, and that's what
Wow.
I'm super thankful for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're here now, and I guess over the last several years, you were probably affected by COVID and the travel restrictions and things like that. What is it like for you now to be at the CSI Expo, competing in the Alpha Las Vegas Open and now the Predator World 10 Ball? Tell me about how it feels to be back out.
It's really exciting. Like this is what I love doing. I've been wanting to do this my whole life, and I was sort of in a limbo. I never got the chance to play full time. I was always like, I'm working a day job and doing something. So now for me to be here and play full time is it's a dream come true.
What do you think about the format? And be honest.
Okay, yeah, I think the format it's a little short, but I feel like it's really exciting.
It is. I
You
agree.
know, as much as players say that it's spot shot is not about pool and so on. To be honest, I think it's fair in a sense that sometimes hill matches you don't get to come back to the table because the opponent just breaks and runs the final game.
That's true.
But with this format, if you miss on the shootout, you got nobody else to blame. You had your chance.
Yeah.
If you miss that, you just gotta practice harder and maybe make lesser mistakes next time.
It's kind of like soccer, right?
Yeah.
Everybody gets 5 penalty kicks, and
Yeah.
here you get 4 chances before you go to sudden death,
Mm-hmm.
and so everybody has a chance to answer.
Exactly.
And so but I think in terms of the people that we've had in the booth, I think you've had one of the best opinions about it in terms of being open to the fact that we need to do something different, right? Races to 11 televised for casual fans or even people who don't really watch the sport, it's not really going to get it done. Have you thought about other ideas to make the sport more exciting?
Um,
Putting you on the spot.
I thought
Solve
of
all the pool's problems in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
to be honest, I think this format is decent. It's not ideal, but I think maybe like they could make it best of 3 sets too. Sort of like tennis.
Yeah.
So you
I'm a
play a
big
couple
tennis
of
fan.
sets.
Big tennis fan.
So that way at least it's a longer match, and then you wouldn't hear players saying that wow it's too short. It's anybody can win this game. It's such a short format, and so on. But I feel like eventually in the long run, the more consistent players are still gonna finish deep. They're going to be ranked higher at the end of the season. I think it's not just about one tournament, but at the end of the year, you look at the rankings, you're definitely going to see the top guys at the top of the rankings.
Yeah, we had Ozzy Reynolds in, and Fargo Rate actually analyzed data from tournaments. And take a guess of what you would say in a normal tournament format, the percentage of upsets you have. What would your guess be?
It's maybe somewhere around 20, 30%.
17.
Yeah, so that's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
7,
very good.
20%. Yeah.
17% in this format since they've started it, with the 2 races to 4 and the shootout. Guess what the upset percentage is in this?
What are you basing an upset on? Like a lower rated Fargo versus a higher rated Fargo?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say it's about the same, maybe
16.
25.
16.
Wow, so it's even lower just by a
Even lower. And
percentage point.
and we were talking about that and wondering, and perhaps it's because of the enhanced pressure. And who's going to handle the pressure more? Typically, the more seasoned, the stronger shooter is going to handle that pressure better.
Yeah, they're gonna handle the pressure better for sure. They're more
What
experienced.
what was it like for you that first time you hit the fire in a shootout?
Well, it was definitely nerve wracking, but I'm pretty confident about my shootout for some reason because I've worked on my technique quite a bit, and it's just one shot. I don't have to think about the cue ball. Normally, currently, if I make mistakes, it's probably because I'm thinking about my cue ball and making the ball. But when it comes to the shootout, I'm just focused on my technique.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I try to make it simpler for myself. Yeah.
So take us through a few of the matches that you had. You had some great victories. Mike's got the bracket pulled up over here, but you started with a bye, and then I think you played my friend from Colorado, Adam Cisneros. Great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us about some of the matches you had, maybe some of the more exciting moments.
All right. Yeah, I guess one of the, like one of my exciting matches, I guess, was playing against Lee Van. But it wasn't exciting because like I played great, but certain things happened which I was totally unprepared for. First of all, would be I lagged and my keyboard scratched,
Oh,
and I was like, "What?"
you were one of
Was that
those.
okay? Was that you, or was that part of the infamous table issues that were going on?
After the match, like I rolled the ball. I know some of the players also mentioned like their tables weren't rolling that well, which I know the issue has been solved already.
Right.
But at that point, it wasn't, and I was pretty surprised by that. And in the match, I had a couple of shots as well, which affected me, and I started to doubt myself. And that's the biggest, I guess, issue. It's not about the table, but what happens in your head when you're
Right.
faced with conditions like that.
It's a
You,
great
you
point.
start to fear that, and it's that fear that gets in your head and affects your performance. It's not really the table. You know
Because
what?
you have
It's
the
what's happening in
ability.
your mind. Yeah.
Right.
So when you start to feel, less confident, you're not gonna play as well naturally, right? So I feel like that was a good experience for me. And then I picked up myself after that match, and I started to play percentages and shots differently, so that I wouldn't be as affected by the table.
Mm,
You know. So it was a learning lesson for me.
it actually changed the way you played.
Yeah. So in a way, it's helping me to become more consistent. Obviously, we want to play on perfect equipment, but if it's not, I think the better players would adapt better again.
Adjust.
They're just more
Right.
experienced. So, I gained some lessons, learned some lessons from that match. And I guess another one of my more exciting matches, I played Jeremy Seaman, who went to the shootout. Thankfully, he missed two, and I made all of mine. Pretty good match too. There, second set I really didn't do much, and then I played Nayuki Oe. That match, I won the first set. I broke and ran 4 games in that match, which is
Wow.
pretty surprising because,
You broke and ran for.
yeah, I broke and ran 2 in the first set and 2 in the second set. And I was pretty surprised because I know that the percentage of break and runs in this tournament is pretty low for all the
Right.
Yeah.
pros.
Yeah.
But my break was just working, and I took advantage of my opportunities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hold on one second, Mike. I just want to remind people: go ahead and share this, guys. This is a great chat we're having with Sharik Sayed. We're talking about the Alpha Las Vegas Open and the upcoming Predator World 10 Ball event, and we're having a great discussion here, and we're getting to know him a little bit. Oh, you had the match against Seaman. You had the Lee Van match you told us about where the balls rolled off a little bit, and what was the other one? I forgot.
Adam Cisneros and then
Cis-
Naoki Oe.
and
Yeah.
Naoki Oi. What was it like
What-
playing Naoki Oi? He's like one of my favorite
Yeah.
characters to kind of see.
He's
out
a
there.
killer on the table, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He's a
I
beast.
mean, I have a lot of respect for him. And actually, like 10 years ago, I played Naoki before in a tournament, and I was leading him 8-1, and I lost the match 9-8.
Ah.
I was a junior player back then, and I just couldn't handle myself. So this time, when I beat him the first set and the second set, I kind of almost didn't close it out. The same memories flooded back, and I was like,
It
okay, you know what?
it
This,
never fails to amaze me, like the memory of a pool player that you can remember that. And we had Shane on earlier, and he's talking about some table layout back in 2015.
oh yeah,
And he can go and like it was yesterday. That he's looking at the table and it was like this, and the A ball was this far off the rail, and blah blah. And
You
like
remember your losses. You
Oh,
don't
for sure,
remember your
yeah.
victories.
No,
as much.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
because you're so emotionally attached to that, so that reminds you of that moment. And so the memories came flooding back to me in that match, and I was like, this time I'm gonna overcome it. And
How do you do that? Like, what did you say to yourself? What do you do in the chair? Do you do breathing? Do you, I always think about that because we had, who did we have on here, Mike? I can't remember. Maybe it was the Co brothers, but they were talking about being really nervous in the shootout. And people don't realize it. They look at you guys sometimes as robots. You just get up there and you make balls and you play perfect, and it's almost like you don't have emotions compared to the normal pool player who, like, I'm scared to
Yeah,
death
but you don't see
sometimes.
what's going on in here.
That's
oh
what I want to
yeah,
Yeah,
know. I want to
same
and
know,
here.
how do you
yeah.
manage that? How do you manage that?
That for me definitely. I've been in this situation recently. I've competed pretty frequently, right? So that helped me to identify my patterns, like what I fear, what I don't fear, and so I've come up with the ways to manage that. So for me, like I breathe, I tell myself certain things to calm myself down. You know,
Like what?
um, just to relax, like simple words. Just
Calming.
that focus my mind. I don't try to make it complicated because when you're under the pressure, there's so many things you need to focus on. The cue ball, the table speed. It's all not familiar. So I just focus on relaxing my mind, my body, and focus on the task at hand. Like, okay, this shot, I want my cue ball to be here. I want to make the ball, and I just try to go down and execute that.
I'm curious because you mentioned the shootout and your successes with it. Your road partner in Yap had a bit of a blunder last time he played here when he played against Bader, and I thought he got away with it because Bader let him off the hook, and then Yap let him off the hook, and Yap had every chance to go and put him away during that shootout. Have y'all talked about that at all? Have you given him any advice as far as what how to go and process that and work through it?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about that. Today we were just talking about it as well. I feel like at this point, his mind's, he doesn't feel that confident about the shootout. And I think that the memories of him playing against Bader in the shootout also affected him this time. You know,
Because I was talking with Joey, man. We went to go have dinner. I think he had a shootout right before the in the semis. I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he?
yeah, he
Right.
had a shootout in the semis and the
Yeah,
quarterfinals as
but the
well.
one in the semis, I want to say they made like a lot of balls, 11-10 or something,
That
wasn't it?
was the
Yeah,
quarterfinals.
that was
Oh,
before,
That
I
was the
think.
okay.
quarterfinals.
That was
Yeah,
against
Matthew
Snagaki.
Snugaki.
Yeah, Snagaki, the Polish.
Yeah,
That guy's
Yeah,
a monster.
yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
yeah. So basically, I mean, all I told him is to just, once he's aimed the shot, just focus on delivering the cue. Don't think about. It's only when you start doubting your aim, that's when the misses start to happen. But just make sure you go through your routine. All of us, we have our own pre-shot routines, and just take that shot as any other shot. You know,
So I guess it's a huge advantage for you guys to be from the same country. I'm assuming you travel together and you bounce ideas off of each other.
oh,
Yeah.
definitely,
So
definitely.
so how often do you guys do that? Do you practice together? Tell us about that.
When we're on the road, like currently in the US, we practice together almost every day. We share things. He'll watch me play. I'll watch him play. And even back home in Singapore, we actually spar against each other. Sometimes we play doubles to see our own ideas. And I've actually learned a lot from him ever since I've started playing full time. Because he's the more experienced player. He's been traveling and competing for a couple of years already.
Is he older than you? I thought you.
He's
No,
younger than
yeah.
me.
I was
He's
gonna say
younger than
what
me.
what have you seen in his game over the last, let's say, because I know if I remember right, he started off playing great whenever he was really young, and then I think he had to take time off to join the military, if I'm not mistaken, and then he came back to playing pool.
Well, yes. Every man in Singapore has to do 2 years of mandatory like national service. So even I did have to do that. But we had vocations where we could get off in the evening and then continue playing pool.
Oh,
So
nice.
he didn't really take time off. Actually, me and him, we ended up both training harder during our national service period.
Really?
Because time, you realize that, oh man, my time is valuable. So the
Right.
moment we're done, we run to the pool hall and we start practicing. Yeah.
Are you guys gonna be partnering together for the World Cup of pool?
I don't know yet. I
No.
know he's going to be playing for sure. But for me, I'm going to have to go back and play some local qualifiers. And so if I win that, I will be his partner for
How
the World
many
Cup of Pool.
how many strong pool players are there in Singapore? Like,
Like your speed.
Uh, Close to my speed, there's about, 4 or 5 players. So definitely the one that plays more consistently gets to go out more frequently. Yeah.
yeah. Huh.
All right. Well, let me ask you. So you end up Singapore, Lindenwood. I'm from Texas. How the hell do you end up in Dallas of all places in the world over the last few weeks?
Okay, so I actually have a good friend of mine who who used to live in Singapore, but now he's an American citizen. His name is Crispian. So when I first came over to the US, he reached out to me on Facebook and he told me that during my summer break, if I don't have anywhere to go, I can stay with him, and he has a table at home, and I can practice there. So I'm very fortunate to have met him, and so he helps us out whenever we need help with getting around and stuff like that. So that's why we ended up in Dallas.
How'd you like it, man?
I love it.
Yeah,
Actually, it's really nice. I got to meet a lot of nice people,
it's
and
a great pool community too.
yeah, and I got to play in the local tour as well, the Dallas Fort Worth tour. So that gave us something to do when we aren't competing at these major events.
What do you prefer, the bar table or the big table?
100% 9 foot. 100%.
Well, you see, they had no hesitation there, none.
Yeah, yeah. Do you play well on a bar table though? If you have to,
Think I'm decent on the bar table.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you just like the big track.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So we were talking about Dallas, and the way I connected with you was even before you got out here through a post that I saw from Fort Worth Billiards. And so they recently started sponsoring you, or tell us
Hmm.
about them and tell us about your sponsors and the folks that are helping you out.
All right. Yeah. So one of my main sponsors would be Rosa Ronnie O'Sullivan Snooker Academy. I'm sure many players know who Ronnie O'Sullivan is. So he actually has a academy opened up in Singapore, and they have like 16 pool tables, 12 snooker
Wow.
tables. It's a really big academy. They're doing a lot of good in Singapore for the sport, and they're one of my main sponsors. They provide me like full support and everything.
I
And
follow them on Facebook, and I saw because we do a lot of business with 3 Seconds. They're actually one of our sponsors right now. I got a real good relationship with Takuya, and I saw they recently came out with the signature line for the Ronnie O'Sullivan Club out there in Singapore, like a signature
cue
case.
case, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm carrying one of those.
you got one with you?
Yes, I have one with me. I can show it to you.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Yeah, it's a really nice case, and yes, the academy is really supportive. They give like whatever I need. They provide it for me without hesitation. And then my other sponsors like DF Fort Worth Billiards. I was introduced to them by Crispian, and I heard that they are doing a lot of good for the sport,
Yeah.
and they're very
Albert's a good
supportive.
guy. Through
Yeah.
Hills, real nice shop too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Albert Trujillo, super nice guy, and I noticed that he does a lot of good for the sport. So, and I thought that it's really nice to be associated with a sponsor like that. And he's also helping me out here in the US. Whatever stuff I need, equipment, tuning up my equipment and stuff like that, he helps me out as well.
Nice.
And then of course Predator Qs and another shop in Singapore, the Q shop. They helped me with my equipment and all that stuff back in Singapore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, what is the whole pool scene like in Singapore? If I were to travel over there today and I
Mhm.
wanted to go out and play pool, is there a lot of pool around, or just a few spots? Are there a lot of amateur players?
Okay, so this is pretty surprising, but ever since COVID happened, there has been an upsurge of pool halls in Singapore.
Really?
And Singapore is a really small country, but in the span of just
Really?
1.5, 2 years, four new pool halls have opened, and
Wow.
they're all pretty big. They're all really nice. I wonder if it has something to do with Aloysius doing well or just the timing of
Yeah.
everything. But I knew this academy was happening even before, last year, Aloysius's, just ascent, So all these things were planned, and it's just synchronized.
How much responsibility do you guys hold on yourself to be great ambassadors for your country
A
and for the
lot,
sport?
a lot of responsibility. I feel like I'm responsible for how players are gonna look at the sport. So I always try to be my best and you know make it look as prestigious as possible because I feel like that's what this sport deserves.
I put a few guys on the spot this week, and I asked them, if not you, then who? Because I know you're playing the World 10 ball. You can't pick yourself. Who's going to win the World 10 ball?
I'll have to go with my buddy. Yep,
I was
he's
gonna
from my
say,
How did I
country.
know that was coming?
I
How
knew
did I
it.
know?
I
Yeah.
knew it.
Who
He's
else?
playing great.
You can't pick Singapore.
Yeah.
I can't pick Singapore. Wow. Victor. He's
Victor's
playing
playing
hard.
Well,
great.
you played him in this event,
Yeah.
and he was the one who sent you home because you made it to the final 32. Tell me what you saw about his game because his game is going up, up, and up, man.
Yeah, I actually watched him for quite a while, and I really like the way he plays. He plays
It's
simple.
unorthodox. He's got
Yeah,
a weird approach. His cueing.
yeah. Well, to be
It's
honest,
unique.
but if you look at his final delivery, it's really nice.
Yeah,
He might look a little funny
Quirky.
with the ball because he's tall for the
he
table,
is. Yeah,
and I think that's about it. But if you just look at the cue moving, it moves really nicely. He moves the ball effortlessly across the table. He has a good tempo around the table. So I like lots of things about his game. Of course, in the match, I wanted to beat him. I wasn't
of
really
course.
watching all
Yeah,
that stuff,
Yeah.
but off the table, I do appreciate his demeanor, and
I love
he's so
hearing that, man.
young. So I really like the way he plays.
So you're talking about demeanor off the table, and I mentioned in the beginning of this interview passing you in the hallways and just seeing how friendly and nice you are. Is that a conscious effort you make to, like, in an environment like this? There's tons of amateurs walking around. Are you trying to interact with them? Are you trying to, or are you just more focused on what you're doing?
Actually, I think this is just my personality. I've always tried to treat people the way I want to be treated. You know,
Right.
Golden rule.
it's just
Hmm.
just that way. That's just it. So I live by that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, the World 10 Ball today is an off day, and that kicks off tomorrow. What did you do today leading up to tomorrow? Did you prepare at all? Did you hit balls, or did you just completely take a day off?
Okay. So honest answer is I would like to have been practicing all day, but since today is the only free day we have to do shopping for family and all of them, we ended up going to the outlet malls to do some shopping for them. Well, I did. I honestly I didn't shop much, but Aloysius and Han, our coach, he did some shopping. They did some shopping, so
He's your
it was a
coach
good
because he
day.
plays pretty sporty.
Yeah, he plays pretty sporty. I also have him to thank, for the way I'm playing. Also, Jeremy's been helping me out a little bit in the U.S. Jeremy Jones,
Oh, wow.
like to give a shout out to him. Yeah.
So what's the future looking like for you? What's your schedule like? Are you playing the World Nine Ball Championships also?
Yes, we're
Yeah.
going to the UK right after this one, so it's really good to compete back to back. I enjoy it.
How optimistic are you for the future of spool given the future of pool given the calendar for this year?
I think it's really bright, and I think things are only gonna get better for the players. I just hope that the associations can get past the conflicting schedules,
Right.
so that players can play all the events. That would be like a win for everybody.
Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah.
So we had Shane Van Boning in here, and we asked him, do you still have a run left for a major title? And what we see is as players get older, they might only have a few chances here and there. Now Shane's won what 5, 6 U.S. Opens,
Right.
whatever it is. But for you, you're looking to break through and win that big one. If you only win one, which one would you want it to be?
The
Which
World
title?
Championship,
9 ball or 10 ball?
100%. Yeah.
Which one? Nine
World
ball or
nine
10 ball?
ball.
9 ball.
Yeah.
Crown.
Because nine ball's always been like the game that people look at. 10 ball came up in the last decade, but nine ball's been there for 50, 60 years, and you know it's always been recognized like the Whirlpool
You'll
Championship.
be immortal.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, you go down in history, right?
Hmm.
This question was a big hit with the Coe brothers. What's your favorite American food?
Favorite American? Oh, I would have to say Texas de Brazil.
Oh,
Texas what?
my wife.
Texas de Brazil.
The
My-
steakhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
My
That
wife's
is-
Brazilian. We do
Oh,
Brazilian steakhouse all the time.
wow, I love it.
You got to go to Fogo de Show.
Oh, I've been there too.
Oh, it's amazing.
But for some reason, I ended up liking Texas de Brazil because their picanha is a little tastier.
Picanha. You don't even know
Yeah.
about picanha.
Hey
Right?
man, I've been to steakhouse before.
You
one
eat the
time.
fat, right?
One time.
Oh, I
gotta-
love it.
Oh, you got to eat the fat. It's
Yeah.
it's really healthy for your brain too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, Sharik, I just really appreciate you joining us.
I did,
We
yeah.
had a great time. I'm going to get you on Pool Player Podcast. We're going to have a longer talk soon.
Awesome.
Okay, so
Awesome.
maybe
I'm
after the
looking
World
forward.
Championship, you get a little downtime. We'll do an interview on there. We'll get it out to the YouTube channel. But I wish you best of luck in the World Championship. Best of luck 10 ball and 9 ball World Championship next week in the UK.
Franco.
But do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to let people know out there about you?
Uh, think I'm good.
Yeah.
Just go out
No?
there and do my best.
Give them
Thank you.
hell,
Thank
man.
you, everybody, for
Yeah.
tuning in. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for
I'm
bringing
Awesome.
it
happy
on.
to have
Yeah,
this
thank you.
opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you. Great meeting you.
Thank you.